second Bassmaster Classic on Championship Sunday.
It's the Bassmaster Classic. This is it.
Everybody's out there. They all know that there's one spot to get, and that's first place.
This is what we all want. This is every single one of us. We want to win this title.
Every fisherman dreams of winning the Bassmaster Classic. It'd be a dream come true.
Still stays in my mind day after day, and it never goes away.
To have that opportunity to be within striking distance on the last day, I mean, that's what every angler wants to accomplish coming into this tournament.
Woo! Yeah! Now I'm right there, so close to victory that I can taste it. I am going to fish the way that I think the Classic can be won.
If you don't believe you can win, if you don't visualize yourself winning, if you don't see that, then how are you ever going to win?
Wow! He's ahead of the game, man!
I think they all still have that one goal in mind, and that's to win.
I'm going for the win, going for number one.
Yeah! Yes!
I'm ready to go out there and fish with everything I have.
If I don't make a mistake on the start, I probably never look back.
Everybody that's here, that's fishing the Classic, can catch them. That's why it's so hard to win the daggone thing. I mean, everybody's just so good and can catch them so well. I want to win this tournament more than anybody, I can tell you that. To do it in your home state, that would be very, very, very special.
No other way to put it, this is the most important day of the year in the sport of fishing. By the end of this day, we'll have crowned a new world champion. Welcome to the Toyota Bassmaster Studios. I'm Tommy Sanders here with Mark Zona. And Z, this day is so easy to size up in terms of importance. That's not hard at all. What's hard to pick out is among those 5 anglers at the top of the leaderboard, within 2 pounds of each other, what will this lake offer up to them today?
It looks very, very similar to what we got to see here in 2008 in the Classic back then. Here's the best way to describe Lake Hartwell. It's a very fragile lake this time of year with all the weather systems that are coming in, going out. Not only that, it's just the behavior of the bass on this lake compared to the rest of the lakes that we cover throughout the season. Once you think you're on them on Lake Hartwell, it changes in minutes.
All right, what a top 10. We have 4 former Classic champs in our top 10. One of them is Takahiro Omori, the man who leads this tournament going into the final day. Robbie Floyd with him now at takeoff.
It's been 10 years since you won that Classic at Lake Wiley. You tell me, you hate the cold, you hate the rain, and you hate drop shotting. How are you going to win this thing having to deal with all 3?
All that stuff start getting like it, so I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to enjoy it.
You like it now. Now, your spot is literally just one little spot. Do you think it can hold up for this 3rd day?
I'm going to find out today, but I believe so.
All right, he doesn't have to make a very long run, just maybe a half mile away, but he's looking to be the 5th person to ever repeat as Bassmaster Classic champion.
Takahiro Omori, confident but cautious. Got to figure he knows what he has to do in order to take his 2nd Bassmaster Classic trophy. Takahiro Omori heading out to his spot, most likely the spot where he spent most of the week, and you see that ever so slim lead he had over our day 1 leader, Dean Rojas, Mike Iaconelli behind him, Randy Powell, Casey Ashley, rounding out the top 5. Again, our top 10 4 former Classic champs.
Exactly, it's time for our YAMAHA Unlock the Lake, and this is a different Lake Hartwell this time around from 2008. You look at the Tugaloo River and the Seneca River, that was kind of a player the last time we were here. That is not the case. All this cold, muddy water coming into Hartwell, well, the river systems really have been a non-factor, except for Randy Howell. But where those rivers divide and head down to the dam, about that 20-mile stretch, that has been the major player all week long so far.
Upland reservoir, which means plenty of clear water and varying degrees of color in that water. We get out to Takahiro Omori, who's spent all week, at least 90% of it fishing deep.
Exactly, and you know, Robbie Floyd nailed it with Takahiro. Takahiro did not want to fish like this, but he knew if you had a shot at winning the Bassmaster Classic, you had to catch him deep here, fishing the north end, Andersonville Island. Really, it's only about a 100-yard to 200-yard stretch, and he said there is not a lot of bass here. There is not 200, 300 bass. They come through in little pods of 2 and 3. Usually, when I can get one to bite, I can catch the rest of the school.
I just find out those deep tree, I never come this far back. Got a shad on the bottom, then the fish suspended on the top of the tree, like 30 foot. Yeah, that's a fish right here. That's a fish down here. Come on. That is a fish. Come on. Got it. Not that big, I think. Oh, that could be a big one. That's a good one. Ah, that's a good one. It's a big one. It's a largemouth. It's got to fight good. Right here. Got to start somewhere. Largemouth.
Well, he mentioned it twice, a largemouth to start the day for Takahiro Omori. Not much size. He knows he'll have to cull that one before day's end if he wants to stay in the lead. Casey Ashley now, starting the day in 5th place, and really for him, just a short trip across the lake to his first spot, and you bet he's probably got a number in mind.
We ain't got to set the world on fire. That's one good thing about it. You know, I'm still in a position to win. I'm in 5th. I'm only like 1.5 pounds behind. If I go out there and bust 20 pounds a day, which is very, very easy to do on a day like today, I couldn't have picked a better day to go fishing on Lake Hartwell. Nasty weather. It's gonna be good. I'm excited. I can't wait to get out there. Today is gonna happen. I'm gonna do this all day long. You know, I've started here, caught a limit every day. And really, it wouldn't have done me any good to keep doing this, you know, prior days, because it hadn't been overcast and they just don't bite. But today it's gonna be overcast. I know those fish on those docks ain't gonna bite. And my brush piles, I've done it 2 days. Never caught a fish that would help me any, so I'm gonna use the conditions to my advantage today. I'm gonna throw this blade runner till the paint comes off of it. I got him. Come back and got it. Not a big one. But it is a start.
Well, Casey Ashley said he was going to give the jig a big run days 1 and 2. That did not work. He is committed to this style of fishing his entire final day.
Casey Ashley, the local favorite again, started this day in 5th place with that keeper there, moving up into 3rd place. Takahiro Omori, also a keeper in his boat, bumps him up a little bit farther ahead of 2nd place. Dean Rojas just getting started here on Hartwell. So much yet to come.
The GEICO Bassmaster Classic, presented by GoPro, is brought to you by GoPro. Nitro. Toyota. And by Berkeley.
World Championship for 2015, the 45th GEICO Bassmaster Classic, presented by GoPro. Lake Hartwell, South Carolina. We're looking now at our updated leaderboard. Let's look at our day 1 leader, Dean Rojas. Kind of shocked everyone fishing shallow and knocking out 21 plus pounds, outstripping everyone's expectations.
Exactly. Dean Rojas said he was even shocked himself at what he caught on day 1 of this tournament. Had to definitely scrap and scrape on day 2. Fishing very close to the dam, and said he was really concentrating on areas there was no other anglers, whether it was clusters of docks, just bare banks. Dean Rojas said he loves these cold water classics. The reason why becomes very mental, physical, and mechanical. Dean Rojas definitely doing something different this morning than we've seen the entire event so far.
I hope it's not a striper. Oh, it's a big bass. Big bass. Big bass. Big bass. Come on, baby. Come on. Get in here. Yeah! Woo! Horse! Yeah! Yes! Yeah! Yeah! Ooh! Yes! Big one, man. Wow! Look at that horse. Ooh, look at that. whole horse. Yeah, yes. That was awesome, man. Oh, he smoked it, man. Smoked it. Gosh, come on, give me another one. Come on, baby. Man, that was awesome. God, heart's going 1,000 miles an hour. Man. Come on. I know you're here.
He is tweaked out of his mind right now, Tommy Sanders.
Dean Rojas pretty excited about the prospect of winning the GEICO Bassmaster Classic. Now we're going to go over to Brett Hite, fishing in only his 3rd Classic, but he is a great veteran of professional bass fishing with a spectacular record. Started 6th, heading into this final day. We saw him out on day 1 doing 2 things. A deep bite that played out early and went to the docks and had success, but day 2, we found him offshore and really got in touch with that spotted bass bite and went to town on those fish.
Yes! I saw a lot more activity today than I did yesterday. I got that ball rolling early. I got 4 real quick, and you know that any bass fisherman will tell you that just really helps you settle down and allows you to just kind of get in a rhythm and start working your spots. I'm excited about tomorrow just for what I saw happen today.
Yeah! Woo!
I've been really consistent both days. And, you know, by doing that, I think I'd have a really good chance to win the Classic.
He caught a couple largemouth on day 1 of this event, but everything else has been spotted bass. You hear so many anglers say you have to have a bunch of largemouth to win. That is not what Brett Hite said. He said there are plenty of spotted bass in this lake that could win this Bassmaster Classic.
Yes!
Those are the ones we're after. I can't get the hook out. He got it. Those all tangled up here.
We cover Brett Hite on the Bassmaster Elite Series, and he is known as a shallow water guy. Growing up in Arizona, one of the best we have at fishing deep water, and trust me, no lack of fishing areas on Lake Hartwell.
How about the performance of these Western anglers here on the Eastern Seaboard in these weather conditions? There's an Eastern Seaboard guy, the 2003 Bassmaster Classic champion, Mike Iaconelli. Kept pace with the leaders on day number 1 and did it with only 4 fish, 1 shy of his limit.
Exactly, Mike Iaconelli catching that limit on day 2. The other side of that is every angler behind Takahiro Mori said, just give me a shot. Give me an opportunity to be there on the last day.
Put me about 2 to 4 pounds out of first going into tomorrow, and look out, baby, look out.
Iaconelli feeling it after the day 2 weigh-in, said, I got a shot, I got a big opportunity. He's going to do something a lot different this morning than we've seen the entire tournament. There's a window, there's a small window where these largemouth and spotted bass will herd these blueback herrings back in the backs of these pockets and drains, Tommy Sanders. The other side of it is, usually when you get 1 bite doing this, you can catch multiple fish. But so far in this tournament, Michael Iaconelli has not capitalized on this style fishing.
Here's one, big one.
Yeah.
2.5 pounder. It's a good way to start. All on the top of his head. Look at that. That's a jerkbait, imitates a blueback herring. That's what they're feeding on back here. That's that new Rapala Shadow Rap deep. 2.5 pounder. Good start. Now we only got to catch 4 out there. Every one we catch up here, we don't have to catch out there.
I'm going to go shallow. That's a huge bonus before you get out deep. You know, if you can get 2 or 3 or 1 before you get out there, now you've only got to get 4 bites or 3 bites out there. Most of the bites in the deep water for me have been the quality that you need to win the event. There's just not a lot of them.
Oh God. Here it goes, here it goes, here it goes, here it goes. Big one. Another one, let's go in there too. Hit one at a time. Oh, big one. There's no time to even put a pin on him. You see him schooling? You gotta get in there quick. Rip them right in, get back in there.
44-degree water and schooling on the surface. Okay.
Heat wave compared to day number 1. 2 quick fish, and that jumps Iconelli from 5th place all the way up into 2nd behind our leader, Dean Rojas. Boy, does he want another classic? You don't even have to ask.
I'd love to be a repeat winner. I remember them calling the winning weight. I remember jumping 8 foot high and pumping my fist. I remember that. I mean, that was over 10 years ago, but I vividly remember it. And I can imagine that happening again.
At the end of today, we will crown a new world champion in the sport of bass fishing. Here in Greenville and Anderson, South Carolina, and Lake Hartwell, 56 anglers started. We have 25 left. We're going to have the winner today, last year's Classic champ from Lake Guntersville in Alabama. Randy Halpin, the most consistent angler of all, 15.5 on day 1, 15.6 on day number 2, putting himself in position to become a repeat Classic champion.
Everything worked out perfect for Randy Howell on Lake Guntersville. The conditions were ideal going into the final day. Has not really been the case here on Lake Hartwell. And take a look at Randy Howell. He's starting to jump around a lot. He's been really focusing on ripraps and the areas around them in the Seneca River. Somehow, every day of this tournament, Randy Howell has scratched out a very solid limit.
Yes. Come on. Nice one. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Come on. Yes, Lord. Woo! Good one, boy. He choked the howler. Look at that. Golly. Come on. Come on. Come here, girl. Yeah. That's the way you start, baby. Just like Guntersville. Got the old Guntersville crawl in the Hartwell mouth. Thank you, Lord. Praise the Lord Jesus. Oh, gosh. Oh, I'm fired up now. That is a good one. It is about a, let's see, that is almost a 4-pounder. Yeah, that is a 4-pounder, 4-pounder, 4-pounder. Started Classic with a 4-pounder. Had one of them feelings, come over here, name fished over here all tournament. Lord's looking out for me, it's gonna be a good day. Oh, he choked it! Oh my gosh. You talk about a bite. That's a bite. My whole game plan could change right here. Man, what a bite that was. That's the best crankbait bite I've had all week. That was I actually felt that one hit it like he choked it. He didn't just suck it in. I'm definitely gonna have to take some clothes off. I'm smoking hot.
Wait, what? What was that?
When you say those two phrases together, it's kind of funny. It sounds humorous almost. Randy Howell finding some feedback, the kind of feedback he wants to get things started on this final day. It's such an important day. Important day for Casey Ashley, all 31 years old. Hometown kid, a true hometown Classic winner possibility.
I want you to rewind 1 year ago. Casey Ashley absolutely blew away the FLW tournament here, and that has not been the case in this event so far. Best way to state it, he's been shooting par, solid limits, but has not had that big stringer. But he has said for over a week before this tournament, I'm waiting until Sunday. The conditions are setting up perfect. Lake Hartwell, he said, when you get low pressure, heavy cloud buildup, that is what I'm hunting for.
That's the way I figured it would be. You know, I knew there wouldn't be a blowout in this tournament. I hadn't really put together a big bag yet. I'm just pretty well just keeping myself in contention, which is right where I want to be. It's hard to keep a lead. You know, if you're leading going into the final day, that adds so much more pressure to you. So, you know, if you can kind of stagger in the back and bring it all at once, that's the best way to do it. So, I mean, I'm happy with where I'm at right now. That's a pretty good fish. Come on back up in there. She wanted it. That's the kind we need right there, baby. There's almost 3 pounds. We might have to cull that one today too. Today is the day. Today is the day.
Casey Ashley obviously has a game plan for today mapped out in his mind. Let's talk about our leading contender from the Bass Nation. You may think of this as sort of a developmental league for bass fishing. Not so. These guys are fantastic. Toby Carden, a well-known angler from Alabama.
He's a dadgum Alabama stud,
well,
is what he is, Tommy Sanders. Most of the guys just have to worry about getting bites, but throughout this entire tournament, this exact area, Toby Carden hasn't been able to get in here yet.
You know, on a tournament where we can focus on one lake and just to be able to compete, it's a very satisfying feeling.
So this pocket's unfrozen now. This from here back was completely frozen the past 2 days. And this little stretch right here, those rocks, there was some nice fish on it, so maybe they're not all frozen. That's a good one. Oh, stay on there, big girl. Oh, look at her. She's just shaking that head. She's barely hooked. Barely hooked. Oh, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Good one there. All right, number 2. Number 2.
Toby Carden from the Bass Nation. 2 fish there that jump him from outside the top 5 to right there in that 5th position. Keep your eye on him. Our leaderboard is still early going on the final day of the GEICO Bassmaster Classic, presented by GoPro. Dean Rojas in the lead with a pound lead over Randy Howell. Such talent in this field. Also competing here is 2013 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Aaron Martins, and a tough week for him, the man who introduced him to the outdoors. Well, Aaron lost his dad this week.
My dad was awesome. He never complained once. I mean, the way he went through is just tremendous, but he never complained. He was always happy. I talked to him a few days ago. He was joking and laughing. You know, he was miserable, but he laughed the whole time. He's a good man.
The 45th edition of the GEICO Bassmaster Classic, presented by GoPro, the World Championship of Fishing. You're on Lake Hartwell, Anderson, South Carolina. Dean Rojas, the slim lead over Randy Howell and Mike Iaconelli hanging in there in third place. Iaconelli burns for another classic win, doing something a little different to start his morning.
He is. Definitely, there's a window right now where these fish are hurting these blueback herring. And Iaconelli said earlier in the morning, he said every fish he catches early, that's a bonus. It's one fish he does not have to catch out deep. His numbers out deep are not that good, but the quality is there. These are very, very specific areas. And Iaconelli also said the window does not last long. Very, very small.
This is a perfect example of what these fish are doing. This is a little drain or just a little ditch that runs up here, real deep in the middle, kind of V'd out. You could see, if you look at the bank, you could see the shape of the bank, and that's exactly what happens underwater. And those bluebacks at night, those herring, will go to the very backs of these drains. And when that sun comes up and the light gets out, the bass are waiting here at the mouths of these things to ambush them. And it doesn't last long. It lasts about an hour, but you could have some really fast and furious action. There's a big one. Big one. Big one. Oh my gosh, he barely hooked. Big one. Three-pounder. In his face. In his face.
Now, I know, I might be stating the obvious here. He is so incredibly weird. I'm serious.
I don't think anybody's going to fight you on that one.
Understand.
Iaconelli, one of a kind right there. Getting momentum going on this final day. How about some momentum from the season? The only man to win 2 events on the Bassmaster Elite Series, Jacob Porosnik, moving up the leaderboard. Robbie Floyd with our GEICO quotes from the boat with him now.
You want to talk about a guy that's catching some bass this morning? The Toyota Bassmaster Rookie of the Year, Jacob Porosnik, already has over a dozen bass in his boat today. His 5 biggest weighing over 17 pounds. He's finding these little creeks and he's just fishing right through the middle of them with an underspin. We've seen other anglers doing it. He's doing it the best here on day 3. The funny thing is, I saw him yesterday right before he went to weigh in, and he said, if I can just get in that 25, I've got a chance. He saw what happened to his Livingston teammate, Randy Howell, last year. He starts in 19th place today. He already has over 17 pounds, and it may sound like the Dumb and Dumber movie, but you're saying there's a chance.
I fished here yesterday for probably, I don't know, 45 minutes, and then all of a sudden I got a bite, you know, and then it was 30 minutes later, got another bite. It's like when they decide to bite, then they turn on for a few minutes, but nope. What is it like?
Jacob Porosnik proved it during the season, proving it here in the Classic. He's going to be nothing but trouble for these top anglers in the world of bass fishing. 17 pounds he's racked up here on the final day, making some noise out there on Lake Hartwell.
Back over to Takahiro Mori, and something interesting that he said so many anglers that come from the heavily pressured lakes from Japan, they come here and they instantly can finesse fish. He said that is not the case with him. He said so many decades ago when he came to America, he was trained on shallow, dirty water in Texas, and he's having to learn this deep water style of fishing. He's done fantastic in this Classic so far. Really, if you look at his day 1 and 2, he came out firing. That has not been the case on this final day. Takahiro looking for those schools to ignite.
Yesterday I had a little school, like 3 drops in a row. Bang, 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 bang. It was awesome. This main lake point is good about it is I can catch spotted bass and largemouth. They just coming in, coming out. Both species. That's real good, you know. It's a bunch of fish down here. God, that's a fish. Got it. Oh yeah, old school then. Let's go. That's going to. Whole school down here now. I fight this morning those fish. Hasn't been so cold, so they never fight this good. Good one, big one, big one. Yeah, that's the spot. Number 2.
Takahiro back reeling right there. Going a little old school in this 2015 Classic.
Knows his way around the spinning reel. Takahiro Omori, who had fallen out of the top 5 into 6th place. Now with 2 fish in the box, he's a pound and a half behind our leader, Michael Iconelli. So Takahiro, game on out here. Not too early to say it. Hey, this one may come down to the last fish. GEICO Bassmaster Classic presented by GoPro. This is it, the final day, championship day. This crowd here at the Bonsecker Wellness Arena can certainly sense the excitement in the air. Line up early. That weigh-in is a few hours down the line, but a lot to do, a lot to see here today, and we'll be taking you there after a while, but lots more fishing coming up. How about Kobe Carden moving up that leaderboard, this representative from the Bass Nation.
If it's meant for me to win this thing, I'm gonna win it. If it's not, we're gonna try again next year and the year after and keep plugging away at them. I'm just blessed that that I'm here today fishing on the 3rd day, because it could have easily went the other way. So I'm just tickled to death either way. I want to make my family proud and all my friends, and I have a lot of people that's pulling for me today, so I definitely want to have a good showing. Whew, please, Lord, that feels like a groaning. That can't be a bass. That cannot be a bass. I hope it is, but I don't think it is. Oh, it is. It's a big one. Please, please, big boy. You need to go to Greenville. He barely hooked. Oh, thank you. That's the way to get it going again. That's right. Whew. He got it too.
I'll make it sound like 100 damn people out here.
That's a good one. That's number 3. We need 4 more of those.
We had a Bass Nation angler almost steal the classic title away from Randy Howell last year. Might keep our eyes on Kobe Carden, that's for sure. Over now to Dean Rojas.
And really what Casey Ashley said was going to happen in this tournament has happened to Dean Rojas. We're starting to see him jump around a lot more today than we did the first 2 days of this tournament. He's been really concentrating on boat docks. Now we're seeing him out deep and really not locking in to one specific technique. One thing about it, Dean Rojas is still very used to this style fishing.
Kind of known as a shallow guy, but you know, out west we have a lot of deep impoundments, Lake Oroville and Shasta up in Northern California, and early on in my career that's where I had to fish, you know, deep water, fish for spots. Learned how to do all that. Of course, fishing in San Diego, you know, we're always fishing 25, 30, sometimes 40 feet of water. So even though I'd be rather up there throwing a frog, you know, fishing shallow, sometimes you gotta just fish with the fish they're out here right now. There's one. Come on. That's a little guy. Yes. All right, number 2. Woo!
I'm not going to lie, I would not have thought coming into this Bassmaster Classic that on the final day we'd be covering Takahiro Mori and Dean Rojas out in 40 feet of water.
A little bit like a trip to another planet, but Dean Rojas there, look at him jumping back into the lead over Michael Iaconelli. Back over to Brett Hite. We've seen him working offshore just about all of this tournament except for an interlude on day number 1, and he's got it dialed in.
There's big singles out here. This island always has them. They just live out here. Tournaments past, I've caught a lot of big ones around this island. Something just told me, hey, you know, I always catch one around here somewhere. When you need a bite, you go to the place where you usually catch them. Sometimes you save those spots like this. And you need a little morale booster. Look at that spotted bass.
Can watch that all day long, and really probably the most consistent angler with big spotted bass in this tournament by far has been Brett Hite.
Just picking up where he left off yesterday with that spotted bass, totally tuned into that bite out there in deeper water. Brett Hite moving up the leaderboard into second place now behind Dean Rojas. Back now with Casey Ashley. Casey started in 5th place. Now he's dropped out of the top 5.
Well, Casey Ashley, really, if you look at what his retrieve is with this fish head spin, he said, I think a lot of anglers missed this bite in practice because they were fishing too fast, and the fish were not very aggressive in their practice round. Really, Casey Ashley's entire technique was in the retrieve.
Pretty good fish there too. Feel like a spot. No, it ain't either. That's a good fish. I'm digging. No, we don't need you jumping. We don't need you jumping. Yeah. That's a solid fish right there, buddy. That is solid. That's the kind we need. 5 of them, baby. Five of them. I ain't gonna put no tag in here. If we call him, buddy, somebody's gonna get their feelings hurt today. That's solid 3.5. I've started here every day, and this place hadn't really shown its potential yet. But they're here. 20 pounds is no problem if these fish will cooperate just a little bit. If you want to catch a big bag, catch a lot of fish on this lake, this is the day to do it. These clouds and overcast, it doesn't matter if you're catching them deep or not, they're gonna bite. That feels like another decent fish. There's still a lot of them down there because when they hit it, they're freight training it. Most of the time, if it's just single fish biting this thing, if they don't get it, you know, that's it. You know, especially if you kind of pull into them or jerk it away from them. When you miss one and pull it away from them and let it fall back down and catch one, there's a bunch of them down there. It's just so deep. And this bait, I mean, this is the only thing I can get them to bite. It's a mobile jigging spoon. That's what it was made for. What these fish do, you know, I throw it out there and I let it go to the bottom and I'll hop it up to get my blade started turning. and I'm just slow crawling it, and they'll just sit there and shark it. I mean, I can just picture it in my mind, you know, there's 3 or 4 fish sharking it. And once one of them commits, they all commit. So if you miss one and drop it back, you'll catch another one.
Well, that right there is about 100% Bassmaster University on how to fish that little homemade horsehead spin. Here's a look under the water at our Skeeter taste the bait. If you look at this deal, he's got a trough of about 45 feet of water that comes up on to a 25 to 35 foot flat with just a few isolated trees. The creek channel, the deep water, is way off to his right-hand side. He said every morning there was a window where those bluebacks would come up onto this deep water flat, and that's when the largemouth would get in a frenzy. Well, Casey Ashley also on this final day of the tournament said the low light conditions will keep them here all day long.
One hit it right when it got to the bottom that time. He come back and got it. That's another decent fish. Not a giant, but we'll take him. You think he didn't want that bait? That fish freight trained it, buddy. Had to have it. It's a good 2.5. That's 5. Feeling good.
Yeah, and that is a bad sign for the rest of our top 10.
Bang, bang, bang. 3 meaningful fish right there, and Casey Ashley goes from outside the top 5 straight to the top. With plenty of time left in this final day. The GEICO Bassmaster Classic presented by GoPro. Fireworks can happen, oftentimes they do. Don't go away.
The GEICO Bassmaster Classic, presented by GoPro, is brought to you by Evan Williams Bourbon, YAMAHA, Skeeter Boats, and by Bass Pro Shops. Be sure to send in your catch to bassmaster.com/catch or #BigCatchContest.
Final day of the tournament. Those words always have meaning, but today, way more meaning than any other time of the year. This is the main tournament in the sport of bass fishing, the World Championship, the GEICO Bassmaster Classic presented by GoPro. We take a look at our leaderboard barely halfway through this fishing day, and we see the big changes, the big moves. Casey Ashley, premier among them, moving all the way to the top with a substantial lead at this point. Takahiro Omori, who started at the top, fallen out of that top 5. That is huge, but again, lots more fishing to come. Height, Iaconelli, those guys hanging in there in the top 5. Toby Carden, one of our Bass Nation guys, also moving into the top 5. Watch out, those guys are very, very tough. And this Classic, the final day of the Classic, is a thing unto itself. There is nothing like it in the world of sports.
No, there's not. And really, if you look at some of the past champions that are in this event this year, guys like Skeet Reese, I did not understand this. It took years to appreciate what these guys go through just to get here, just to have a shot like Takahiro Omori winning this tournament on Lake Wylie. The stress and the anxiety that they go through an entire season just to get that golden ticket to be in this event.
Well, you know, and you have to fish it as if it's your last opportunity ever, because you really don't know when you'll ever make it to a Classic again. Each day is so important.
I think Kevin Van Dam wrapped it up the best when we got to see him at this year's Bassmaster Classic. He said, look, man, he said, you know, you can't take for granted being in this tournament, because if you're to win this, number one, it's bass fishing, immortality. The other side of it is, it will change your life.
Never give up! Never give up!
Mike Iaconelli, 2003, never give up. That phrase has endured strong for more than a decade. We had Chris Lane and all the other former Classic champions in this field. A good idea of the strong depth of talent we have here.
The 2012 Bassmaster Classic champion, Chris Lane!
And Of course, today we're all about the fact that this is the final day, the single most important day in the sport of fishing. But those first 2 days, just getting in position, not shooting yourself out of it, having a spot there where you can look at that championship and think, maybe I got a chance. Those first 2 days have been important. How about our Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Greg Hackney? A great first day.
Exactly, and you always hear this. You can't win the Classic on day one, but you can certainly lose the Classic. And really, you hear that this is a process. Each day is almost its own tournament. We saw that with Brett Hite. Brett Hite having one bass at 1 o'clock on day one, salvaged it, stayed in the event. And the other side of that is we talk about execution. So Randy Howell lose a critical bass on day one and completely turning that around at the end of the day on day two.
Absolutely. He had a mission on day 2. He had to make it into the top 5 to help the kids from his charity get down for the final day of the tournament. And it was just a joy to watch his elation at making that right decisions. It's all about decision.
And one of the things that we've seen in this year's Classic throughout competition, it was so hard just to keep momentum going. The fish were moving a lot. The fish were in transition with all the cold fronts. And the other side is a lot of our guys in the top 10 just not getting a lot of bites, and it was just hard to gain momentum throughout the week.
Keep your head in the game. Keep your head in the game, man.
Michael Iaconelli, who you say probably has as much burning desire to win another Classic as any human alive, staying with his game plan and just executing as best you can possibly expect.
And as we said at the top of the show, what's been very hard to duplicate is that right there. What Takahiro Mori did on day 2, catching bonus, bigger largemouth in his deep area. It's just been being able to duplicate your pattern every single day. Really, the only person that's been able to do that has been Dean Rojas and Casey Ashley so far.
Dean Rojas kind of, I think, shocked everybody on day number 1. Went shallow. Nobody's expecting someone to do that well, and he knocks out 21 plus on day 1.
I think what Rojas did in this tournament is probably the most impressive thing so far. Living shallow, staying shallow, not giving up. And granted, he's had to scratch and scrape, but he is still in the hunt.
And Casey Ashley, our ultimate homer, our ultimate hometown favorite, with more experience than anyone on this lake, putting it to use. I mean, it's one thing to be the hometown favorite, but to pull it off.
Well, you were wondering when the local knowledge was going to start to pay off, and I think on this final day, when he scrapped everything else that he had in his game plan and committed to staying deep, well, now you're starting to see the horse pull away a little bit.
Casey Ashley, 31 years old, 3 victories coming with the Bassmasters coming into this one. But if he can pull it off today,
that's a bad man.
Oh,
right
he's
there.
a bad man, the man we should look out for on this final day. But of course, all of them, because the changes have been so fast, so furious throughout all 3 days, as we've just seen right here. Up and down the leaderboard, these guys going. Casey Ashley now with a good lead, a 6-pound lead, as a matter of fact, over Dean Rojas. Time to get back out to the lake because many more changes yet to come.
From South Carolina, here comes Casey Ashley.
It'd be a dream come true. You know, every fisherman dreams of winning the Bassmaster Classic. But for me, it would be that much more special because it's right here in the hometown in front of everybody that I know and all my support, friends and family, and you know, so it would be real special. Not only for me, I mean, I would feel like I'd be winning it for them.
Hard to believe that we're already halfway through this most important day of the year in the sport of pro bass fishing, the GEICO Bassmaster Classic, presented by GoPro. 45th edition here at Lake Hartwell, Anderson, South Carolina. And lots of movement up and down the leaderboard, jockeying for position on this final day.
And that right there is what was said you were going to need on this final day to win this event. Largemouth, big largemouth. Here's something we did not see coming out of nowhere. Bobby Lane from Florida making a huge move on this final day. Take a look at where Bobby Lane's fishing, and he's been concentrating just like Jacob Porosnik, just like Casey Ashley, fishing a little horsehead spin Tommy Sanders. Here's the deal. He is not on spotted bass. Bobby Lane has found an enormous school of largemouth.
Bobby Lane, whose first Classic, he's fished in 8 of them now, took place right here back in 2008, Lake Hartwell.
How about that? Woo-hoo-hoo! You want to make the top 25, of course, always, and that wasn't my goal this week, and I didn't just go prepare myself to go out and try to catch a limit of bass tomorrow. It is a goal of mine Watching my brother experience it in 2012 was amazing. It was awesome. I'm hungry for a win at the Bassmaster Classic.
Known as Big Fish Bobby Lane absolutely blasting him on this most important morning, final day of the Classic. Bobby Lane moving up into third place as we go out to Takahiro Omori.
Takahiro Omori right now this morning, you know, really the day 2 of this tournament, Takahiro had some giant largemouth bass. So far today, Takahiro not dialing in on those, catching some solid spotted bass, one decent largemouth early in his boat. Takahiro Omori, I hate to use the word hate, Tommy Sanders.
No.
Takahiro Omori said he truly cannot stand fishing like this for the simple reason, well, he can't cast.
This is exactly how most of people think fishing is boring. I need more fish move it to this point to have fun with it. Ah, that's a fish. That's an exciting deal right there. 2, 3 fish. You ready? That's a fish down here looking my bait. God, come on. Ah, he bit me. Got it. Finally. Feels big one. Little heavy. Oh yeah. It's a heavy. Ah, big one, 4-pounder. It's a big one. It's a 4-pounder. It's a fish I need. It's a big one. Ah, that's skinny. Yeah! And a shad shape one. It's a little skinnier, but I take it. Oh yeah, 3 more down here right now. Maybe more than 3 right now. Watch.
I want you to take a look at Takahiro Omori's drop shot leader, about 3.5 feet long. Total opposite from Brett Height, who's fishing the exact same technique.
Omori, that good fish right there, takes him from outside the top 6 all the way back into third place, but still 5.5 pounds behind our leader. That man, Casey Ashley, off to the great start today, the solid limit early. Hard to argue with that on the final day. Robbie Floyd with our GEICO quotes from the boat with Ashley now.
Things are going as planned for Casey Ashley on day 3 of the Bassmaster Classic. He said he was coming to this pocket. It's a long pocket, and as soon as the trees stopped, that's where those blueback herring were kind of being trapped early mornings. Yesterday, that's what worked for him, and that happened today as well. He's got 12 pounds in the boat, but really the small fish is about 1.25 pounds, so he knows he can upgrade pretty easily if he catches any size bass. He's using one of those underspin or horsehead baits with a Fluke Junior in pearl white. He's trying to imitate that blueback herring, and he's trying to catch those schooling fish early in the morning. Right now, things are going perfectly for Casey. 12 pounds in the boat, an early limit, and he hasn't even moved to catch the big ones.
It's going good, you know, I mean, I didn't really feel like I was going to sit there and catch 20 pounds. That would be too easy. But we got a good start. We probably got close to what we weighed in yesterday right now. This overcast day, it's going to be the deal. Like I said, today is the day.
One reason he said that earlier, today, all-day cloud cover is going to keep those fish right where he wants them.
It is, and I want you to look at the image on the water. I mean, it is a sheet of glass out there, and that is perfect for anybody fishing deeper than 20 feet of water. And really the difference for Casey Ashley from a lot of our other competitors that are fishing deep, maybe Brett Height a little bit, but Casey Ashley's on monster numbers of bass. He's rotating 3 different areas. And what's interesting about these areas is early in the morning, those largemouth all pod up together, and then they disappear and big spots move in.
Yes, sir. Kicked the good out on that thing. Didn't get too excited yet. Whew, that's a cold one. That's another 3-pounder. Yeah, we'll take them coals all day long. It's gonna happen though. Put him on this side. We're getting there, baby. We're getting there. Got to keep the ball rolling.
Casey Ashley putting his favorite weapon on Lake Hartwell down, the jig, and going to work with that horsehead spin.
Absolutely. Casey Ashley with that cull. That's the kind of cull you want to make. The one he just made right there, a 1.5-pound upgrade, extends his lead over Dean Rojas to 6.5 pounds, seemingly in the driver's seat. But we know these people here, downtown Greenville, know waiting to go into the arena, that anything can happen on the final day of the Bassmaster Classic. Getting closer and closer to that hour of truth, that time we crown our 2015 world champion in the sport of bass fishing here in the GEICO Bassmaster Classic presented by GoPro. All these folks from the Carolinas, from Georgia, from Tennessee, and all over this nation share bass fishing lifestyle, a passion for bass fishing here, getting ready for the big moment of the year as we head out to Dean Rojas.
And Rojas has lived on these docks down near the dam. The reason why, he said, they were just ignored from other competitors really since the first day of this tournament when it was sunny. As it got cloudy, these docks have not reloaded.
Just bouncing around, you know, from where the high percentage where the fish are going to be at, you know, on the points and on these little ditches where it gets deep right alongside it. First day, that was like key. That's where all the big largemouth were at. I haven't caught a largemouth on a dock yet. I think they've dispersed, and I just want to hit these last couple ones here, and then we're gonna move and just keep shaking. I'm fishing like the mouths of the creeks, not so much inside the creek, all that deep. Mostly on the outer edges. That's where the fish are hanging out at.
There's one. Look a little better one there. A little one. Come on up here. Nice fun, chunky one. Number 4. Little guy, but we'll take him. It's number 4.
Except for his first fish of the day, the size has just not been there for Dean Rojas on this final day of the Classic as we go out to Mike Iaconelli.
In the first 2 days of this tournament, Iaconelli did the bulk of his destruction with that jig, and he knows if he's going to win this Bassmaster Classic, it will be with that bait.
I'm making a commitment now to just do this. We're going to stay out deep. We're going to keep this jig in our hands. If I don't get another bite, this is what I need to do to win. You know, this is the Classic. This isn't a points tournament. I'm not worried about filling my limit out with 2-pounders. I need 2 or 3 4 to 5 pounders. I got 3 hours to do it. This is my best chance.
There's one. Big one too. Big one.
Oh God, big one. Big spot. Yeah. All right, sticking with the jig. Putting everything right away and I'm throwing jigs the rest of the day. It's a 3-pounder. I'm putting everything away. We're out here since about 9 o'clock. It's now noon, 10, 11, 12. That's 3 hours. That's the first bite we've got out here. Back on the original bait I was throwing, a jig. Same stuff we've been fishing all day. Maybe it's a timing deal. Maybe we had to wait for this little bit of chop to get on the surface. That fish is telling me I got to commit. This is the only way I'm going to be able to win the Classic. I got to stick to it. If you want to win, you got to fish out here. You can't fish shallow. You can't fish docks. You can't fish all that stuff. You got to fish out here if you want to win.
Mike Iaconelli making it official. They're totally committed to do this for the rest of the day. That one fish there put him all the way up into a tie for second place, over to Poroznik.
Yeah, but this is where you got to have patience. You know, it's just so slow out here. You know, first thing in the morning is really, really good, and then you get out here and it's just really slow. I mean, you might fish for an hour and not get a bite, and then all of a sudden you might get two, you know, so.
Poroznik has lit them up every morning in the first hour and a half on days 2 and 3. Well, that shortened day on day 1, really, if you look back, could have been the demise of Jacob Poroznik in this event.
Poroznik, another small one. Remember, he started out this morning busting out a 17-pound limit. The big salvo of the day early on, and now just trying to upgrade a little bit and do what he can. You know, he still needs to make some significant upgrades if he wants to climb up into the top 5.
Definitely has made a big comeback since day 1. Poroznik over to Brett Hite. An interesting deal on all these deep water spots that Hite's fishing. Also Iaconelli, wherever a creek channel cuts off a point, wherever that deep water sags into a point, that is the feeding shelf. Well, and Brett Hite is on one that has a load of bass.
I've been to this spot every day this week. Yesterday we pulled up here and I saw a school of fish down there that was pretty spectacular, and I never got a bite. And today we kind of just snuck up on it real slow. And I knew that's what's living on the spot. They're big ones. I got one. That's a big one. It's a big one. This is the one, baby. This is the one. Come to daddy. Oh, come here. Yeah! Woo! Giant spotted bass. Giant spotted bass. Yes! 4.5 pounder. Yep.
Next to Bobby Lane and Casey Ashley, Brett Hite right now about as dialed in on Lake Hartwell as you can get.
Brett Hite still shy of a limit, so he's got a shot at running down our leader, Casey Ashley, grabbing that trophy he's thought about for a long time.
I get a chill. Yeah, it's that's a pretty special thing to be called, and you know, there's not too many of them out there, and you know, that's this is the pinnacle of our sport, and it would be an honor for somebody to call me that.
Yeah! Woo!
GEICO Bassmaster Classic presented by GoPro. This is the big one, and all these fans inside now. Bond Secure Wellness Arena, downtown Greenville, South Carolina, all hyped up on the prospect of crowning a world champion today. Meanwhile, the fishing going on full steam out at Lake Hartwell. That's our venue for this year, and it's been an outstanding one if you want to test the best in the world.
Exactly, and Bobby Lane has made probably the biggest, the most unforeseen comeback on this final day. Bobby Lane lighting them up early and often, and he'll tell you he is not letting anything stand in his way of this year's Bassmaster Classic.
You know, there's been a lot of talk around the 2015 Classic about the weather. I am not using the weather as an excuse once in this 2015 Classic. I don't care if it snows, it was frozen the first day, who cares? It's the Classic. You deal with it.
Bobby Lane ready to go on this final day. We heard him say earlier in the day, totally inspired by his brother's classic winning performance on the Red River back in 2012. That's one of the thoughts that's keeping him going today. And Bobby Lane has jumped up all the way into second place behind our leader, Casey Ashley.
Really not catching a limit on the first day of this tournament. None of us. We were not looking at him on this final day. And really at about 1 o'clock is when you started to say, well, Bobby Lane's within one fish of winning the 2015 Bassmaster Classic.
Of course, debuted here back in 2008, was part of that conversation as well. Finished 4th place as we head out to our leader for now, Casey Ashley.
Casey Ashley staying with his primary weapon, not putting it down. Every single call Casey Ashley makes from here on out, so critical.
All I'm doing now, I mean, I've caught fish out there in front of this thing, you know, real deep. And then yesterday I caught my biggest one back here in the back. And I've watched these birds, you can see them right there, those loons. They've worked in this area right here all morning. I just gonna fish my way back. Yesterday I skipped all over this. I just caught a striper, so I know there's bait all in this area. Be nice to get back here and catch us another 4-pounder or 2 like we did yesterday. Feels like a pretty good fish there. Hit it on the way down. Yeah, that's a big one. Come on, baby, stay on here. It ain't as big as I thought it was. Still a good one though. It's a 3-pounder. Screen lit up too.
Yeah, I would say that's all of a 3-pounder. In fact, and you would never know that it's the final few hours of the Bassmaster Classic as calm as Casey Ashley is.
Cool as a cucumber. That's a cull he wants to make. That will extend his lead over Bobby Lane to 2.5 pounds now. We go over to the man who started with the lead today, Takahiro Omori.
That's a fish down right now. It's a good one too. 2 of them. 3 of them. 3, 4 fish, big fish just hang around here. Seems like harder to get bait for these guys. Something touching my bait. Could be a tree, could be a fish. That's a fish down here looking my bait. God, come on. Ah, he bit me. Should have waited more. Maybe, I don't know. He bit me though. Got it. Finally, bit me. Ah, got in a tree. Got out a tree. Oh yeah, he got out the tree. It's a big one too, I guess. Oh, this is a big one out here. It's a good one. 2.5. Two, maybe. Number 5. Fish is all over this tree right now. It's 2 pound for us.
You could see by the size of that bass, Takahiro Omori definitely struggling here on day 3. Takahiro has put a ton of pressure on his one spot.
It's also been a grind, a struggle for Randy Howell after 2 outstanding days here on Lake Hartwell, finding the conditions very flat, just nothing that made things happen on the first 2 days happening today.
Really, the loss of current is what has affected Randy Howell, and Randy Howell is going to have to catch a few big fish before it's time to head to weigh-in.
There he is. There he is. Yes, Lord, yes, please. A big one. No, it ain't a big one either. It's a keeper, though. Come on. Oh, come here, baby. Come here. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, God, he's going crazy. Come on. There, finally. Whew, thank the Lord. Just enough of a ripple, I just said, to get your bass. He gave me a heart attack. He was barely hooked with this one hook. And then when he ran down, he got re-hooked again. It's about a 2.5 pounder almost. Not bad. A lot better than all the ones I haven't caught today. So we're gonna take him and say, thank you, Lord. Let that be the start of a new good time here. Old howler. Man, it felt good to get a bite. And y'all just don't know how this feels in the Bassmaster Classic when you want to win so bad. And you know what it feels like to win. And you just try so hard and you can't make it happen. You just got to be patient and have faith. Keep listening. Keep trying to listen. Man, when he got on there at the beginning, I really thought it was a big one because he just had the back hook. And when they do that and their mouth's wide open, all that water's gulping through their mouth, that makes them feel like a really big fish. But see that little bit of ripple on the water when we ran into here, I could see it. I don't know if it's just starting or if it's just this side of the lake we got on. It's more of it over here. But that's definitely a key that's helped. I caught one right there the first day. Didn't catch one there yesterday. And back up. Try to duplicate that and cast. He was right where there's another one. There he is. Come on, Lord. That's a big one there, it feels like. Come on, Jesus. Whew. Come on. Oh, he just come off. Oh, he came off. That was a big one. Golly. What in the world it happened for? He was trying to take me into that bridge pile and I was trying to pull him away. Doggone, why did that happen?
Tough moment for Randy Howell. First 2 days of the Classic for him just about perfect in terms of positioning himself to be only the 3rd angler ever to win back-to-back Bassmaster Classics. So Randy Howell just got to soldier on bravely in the final hours of fishing here on Lake Hartwell, which upstream intersects the campus of Clemson University, that fine institution of learning and sports. Awful nice of some of their band members to come and join us in downtown Greenville as we get ready for the weigh-in on the final day. GEICO Bassmaster Classic presented by GoPro. That's a shot of the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. Beautiful downtown Greenville. What a great host city Greenville, South Carolina has been for this biggest event in the world of fishing. Everybody outside because they're packed inside. Everyone. Total anticipation of weigh-in time coming up before too long. Lots of entertainment, lots of activities for everyone to indulge in, kind of keep things going, keep the adrenaline flowing here in Greenville. Anglers to arrive from Lake Hartwell and the weigh-in get underway. Just 25 anglers left on this final day, but out on the lake at Lake Hartwell, still not right to a decision yet. There's some fishing yet to be done.
And get out with Dean Rojas, and really, Dean Rojas has fished a very solid event. He's been calm all week long, and he's even used the term, I don't care anymore. I've fished enough of these things where I know if it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen. Dean Rojas, really with no giant bass today, knows this one may have slipped away.
I treasure each one of them. This is my 13th Classic, and each one of them, you know, I pour my heart and soul through the whole season, you know, to get to this point of trying to be able to, you know, win my childhood dream, and that's the Bassmaster Classic. You know, they're all special, you know, but as I get older and everything, and the whole glamour of it all, it's just, you know, it consumes me, but there's still a job at hand, and that's to finish #1, and my job here is to win. This used to be one of my favorite times of the Classic. The last hour, everything gets so quiet. All the boats are coming off the water. And you catch a fish. He's a little guy though. But he'll keep. That's 5. What'd I say? 13 and a half. It is 221. 221 right now. So 30. Woo! I got her. 30 minutes. Like I was saying, it's my favorite time of the Classic. It's the last hour. You know why? Because everything gets so quiet and still. Every Classic, all the boats are leaving, going to the weigh-in. Things just settle down and relax. Everything slows down.
Well, Dean Rojas finally finishing out that limit there, but plenty small. He knows some miracles going to have to happen in a very short period of time if he wants to be back and challenge for the lead. Over to Brett Height, who still 2 fish shy of a limit, can make a big total appear.
Brett Height, a very impressive day, but really everything in his live well is about 3.5 pounds. Brett Height needs a giant to catch Casey Ashley.
Yes! That's 4. Need one more. That's not a giant, but we'll take him. Look at those little piggies in there. Had to trick that sucker 3 or 4 times to make him bite. Whew. I knew he was down there looking at it. Thank you. One more. Come on, we got to put our head down. One more bite. We got exactly 59 minutes. I got him. Oh, we come off. Oh my gosh. It's the only fish I lost all week. Oh, Brett.
Absolutely painful to watch. Brett Height, who's really fished a flawless tournament so far. The only thing that has been missing has been a giant kicker. Put him in the lead all week long. Brutal last hour of fishing.
Yeah, the hands of the clock ticking on, guys. 5, 6 pounds back. No, they're in a bad spot right now with not much time left. And Casey Ashley, the local favorite, the hometown hero, knows that's a hard thing to live up to, but he's done well at this.
You can say, hey, this guy's gonna win, or this guy's gonna win, or this guy's gonna do good. With a, football, basketball, baseball, you can look at stats and you can see who's pitching and this and that, but Man, it's us against Mother Nature, and there's no way to predict that. It's all on me. I mean, you go out there and fish, you have a good time. I know the lake, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, I know how to win. That's all I can worry about. That's all I can think about when I get on the water. Decent little old fish. I don't know that he's gonna cull though. He might. Yeah, that'll definitely cool. That's another 3.5. That's the one we need right there. Woo! We're definitely gonna make it interesting. Trophy might have to stay in South Carolina.
Has been a flawless game plan all week long for Casey Ashley.
Ashley right there putting the final touches on an almost perfect day. Casey's time to take it, put it on the trailer, and head to the weigh-in. Robbie Floyd's going to catch a ride with him, the final ride of the day.
As you head in on this final day, was there a number that you thought you needed to have to win this thing?
I felt like I needed to catch over 20. Fish bit today. I know somebody's going to catch them pretty good. I don't have quite that, but I still feel pretty good. I'm going to scare the heck out of them anyway. If somebody stumbled, I'm going to be right there knocking on the door.
You had a lot of support from your fellow statesmen out here. Do you think that your advantage was big on this lake, knowing that you had all these places to go to?
It was, especially with this big cold front that came in. You know, me knowing where to spend my time, because the fish really wasn't active anyway. It played a big role, I think.
As you're making this final run in on the last day of the Bassmaster Classic, what's going through your head as you're going back to check in?
I'm excited. You know, I don't know what anybody else has. I know I've got them pretty good. I mean, somebody has to have caught them, you know, to beat me. So I feel pretty good about it. It's over now, so it's out of my hands.
Enjoy the walk across stage.
Thank you, sir.
Well, you heard Casey Ashley. He can't know what the other anglers have done out there today. He feels he's done his job to the best of his abilities. Got a lot of fans for Casey Ashley. Hometown crowd here in Greenville, South Carolina. A lot of them here to see their boy win, and Casey Ashley's going to give it all he's got. This crowd is off the charts, and the weigh-in is coming up next, the final weigh-in. The World Championship of Bass Fishing, the GEICO Bassmaster Classic, presented by GoPro.
The GEICO Bassmaster Classic, presented by GoPro, is brought to you by Humminbird, Mercury, Minn Kota, and by Triton Boats.
Presented by GoPro, final day, and the fishing time is over. The crowd ready to go in the Bontefer Wellness Arena in Greenville. Everyone eagerly anticipating the magic moment. Our host Dave Mercer ready to get it going.
From Lakeland, Florida, give it up. Here comes Bobby Lane.
Big fish, Bobby Lane, looking for 15 pounds and 4 ounces to take the lead here at the GEICO Bassmaster Classic. 19 pounds and an ounce. The Lane train continues to steam on. Big fish, Bobby Lane, with 46 pounds, 15 ounces, is leading the GEICO Bassmaster Classic. 46 pounds of 15 ounces. for B. Height. 12 pounds, 4 ounces. Bobby Lane dodges a big, big bullet. A 3-time Bassmaster Elite Series champion. The odds-on favorite rolling into this event, fishing his 6th Bassmaster Classic. Get loud for Casey Ashley. Boom shakalaka, giant bass. Casey Ashley bringing a finned freak of nature across the stage in front of his hometown crowd. He's got a 5-fish limit, but it's got to be a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Looking for 17.2. 20 pounds, 3 ounces. With that, we say goodbye to Lakeland, Florida Pro Big Fish Bobby Lane and say hello to your GEICO Bassmaster Classic daily leader, Casey Ashley. 50 pounds and an ounce. 1, 2, 3, 4 anglers away from putting your hands on this bad boy. Let's keep them rolling. He is your reigning and defending GEICO Bassmaster Classic champion from Springville, Alabama. Everybody howl for Randy! Howl! Unbelievable run at defending your title here. 2 fish on Championship Sunday, 6 pounds, 7 ounces. Hold 'em high, moves into 13th place currently. He is the 2003 Bassmaster Classic champion, 2006 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, fishing his 13th Bassmaster Classic. Go Ike for Mike Iconelli! 19.2, 11 pounds and 6 ounces. Casey Ashley's smile is growing by the second, smiling from ear to ear. He's a 4-time Bassmaster winner from Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Dean the Machine Rojas! Looking for 18 pounds and 9 ounces. 12 pounds, 4 ounces. Dean Rojas moves into 3rd place with 43 pounds, 13 ounces. With 1 angler left to go. But this one is a scary, scary creature. He dreamed of it his whole life, became the first international angler ever to win the Bassmaster Classic, looking to become the 5th angler to win multiple Bassmaster Classics. Get loud from Emory, Texas, Takahiro Amore! Takahiro Amore led this deal after 2 days and is 5 fish away from becoming a 2-time Bassmaster Classic champion. I will ask Casey Ashley to stand side by side. South Carolina, are you ready for this? Come on, get loud. Greenville, South Carolina, are you ready? Side by side. Started the day with 31 pounds, 11 ounces. Looking for 18.7. 12 pounds, 8 ounces. South Carolina, your native son gets it done. The 2015 GEICO Bassmaster Classic, Casey Ashley. To make this official, we need to do the trophy, and let's bring out our defending champion, Randy Howell. Bring that trophy out and hand it off. Let's make it official. Get on that mark and get loud. Are you ready? The 2015 GEICO Bassmaster Classic champion, Casey Ashley.
playing his song, celebrating his victory, the hometown hero, Casey Ashley in Greenville, South Carolina. One more time from the Toyota Bassmaster Studios here in Mark Zona. With every classic, we try to put it in perspective. And we look at this one maybe versus last year, Guntersville. Randy Howell makes a call, and the whole lake opens up to him. A magical, miraculous day, but a different, more workmanlike effort this time, huh?
Definitely, and I would say probably somewhere in Casey Ashley's mind, he is truly thanking that wicked cold front that came through, because it did. And he'll tell you this. It was one of the reasons he won this event. But if you put this in perspective, the entire tournament, think about it. Your dad walks up to you before the event and hands you a homemade jig head and says, Casey, you are going to win the tournament on this. You're going to win the Bassmaster Classic on this lure right here on your home lake in front of your friends. It's like something you would write, Tommy Sanders.
Well, it sounds like a folk song, doesn't it?
The odds are astronomical. And the other side of that is a little something about Casey. He is one of the most respected anglers on the Bassmaster Elite Series Tour, and he will be one of the best champions we have ever had.
And a great representative for the sport for the upcoming year. Casey Ashley will be with him the next time we see you on our Winner's Circle program. Go inside that victory with Casey Ashley, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, I can catch them shallow, I can catch them deep. Muddy water or the back of the creek. The wind and rain to me, it's all the same. I make a living playing this game, and I thank the Lord above every time I can. I get to be a fishing man.